So we're kind of back in the chair again. Look out past like normal. We're going to talk about a few things today that we see predominantly, and it doesn't make any difference what level of rider it is, whether it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, whatever. But some common things that we see that could be fixed if you so desire. Everybody's going to ride the way they want to ride, and that's cool, and you can go where you want, whatever. But basics are basics. So one of the things that we constantly see is a long, extended front leg on many riders. So Ted, you want to touch on that briefly?
Okay, so it's not so much that the leg gets long in front, but that means when we look at it, the weight is shifted to the rear most likely. And that's lifting the nose of the snowboard. So the nose of the snowboard isn't steering.
Okay, so adding to that, we'll just make it real simple for you. Anybody out there on the other side of this camera who drives their car from the rear seat, okay? that should pretty much answer that question.
Or what happens?
You may tell the driver what to do, but you're not in charge, okay? All right, so we see an elongated front leg. We also see a lot of riders who fold at the hips,
Yeah.
whether it be toe side or heel side. Just touch on that for a second, Ted, briefly.
Yeah, we call it a break at the waist, and what it does is
We call it a break at the hips.
or a break at the hips, and you start to distribute more weight without even thinking about it in the direction that you're leaning. You know, so if
Correct.
you're leaning forward, you're pushing more weight out over the toe side. Maybe you don't want to go there, or maybe you're trying to steer with that, and it's real hard steering when you're in an L shape.
Okay, so pushing more toe weight over to the toe side. Even if you're on the heel side and you fold at the hips towards the toes, which is what we're talking about, is a movement of the center of the mass to the center of the board, but tipping on both sides while trying to maintain one of those two sides.
Yeah, you're fighting yourself.
You're fighting your own body by doing that.
Yeah,
so we
you're
see
fighting
that.
yourself.
Okay. So the next thing is we also see is a lot of shoulder lines which correlate with the hip lines, that are tipped back up the hill. Want to touch on that real quick?
Well, if you're tipping back up the hill, you're trying to brake most likely, and when you open your shoulders, that's just natural, because usually when we turn our heads, we swing our shoulders to go. You don't have to, and by rotating this upper body, it tends to relate down to your feet, and where you've put more weight, distribution of weight, to where you've rotated your shoulders
Okay.
to. You bend your knees.
So I'll just make it a little bit different than what Ted said, because I'm talking about shoulder line and hip line, not aligned to the fall line that you're going down. This causes back weighting, and I call it whoa, moving back instead of go, moving with the gravity line. So you're fighting it, all right? So we see that, we see the openness, we see the compacting of the back leg as the rider goes down, which is part of this alignment thing we just mentioned. So touch on that real quick, Ted.
So, and basically my ride, I can't do that because I don't have that kind of muscle or structure in my back leg. And when I do it, it hurts. So I want to have more evenly distributed weight, front and back.
All right, so
and now
central riding.
And then I got to align over the board to make everything
right
where it's balanced.
Closer to the pivot point, closer to the steering wheel, and all of that. So those are the common things that we see in riders, no matter what level they are. Why we think it's important to talk about this is because we don't care if you're a brand new rider going out for your first day, or you're an older rider. Suddenly things change, but you need basics in order to build good fundamental riding and make it what we call E&E, effective and efficient, not just effective. All right?
There you go.
So guys, we're going to try to touch on that on the snow, give you some examples. We have given you some early season. We're going to expand upon that because we think it's important. And you know what I love about it the most? It makes me have to try to improve my riding.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so we're out for now.